If you're in your 30s or you're reaching your 30s and you're going through a breakup right now, there's a reason why breakups are going to be hitting you a lot more harder at this age. And this is something that I've personally been through myself. I know a lot of guys are going through this problem as well. Reaching this age and dealing with not only the pain of the breakup itself, but you're also dealing with a broken identity. And this is what I want to discuss in detail in today's video, because you're more than likely going to be able to relate with what I'm about to share with you. So let's get straight into it. Now, I want to discuss what consists of a broken identity, what you're actually going through right now. So if you've been in a long-term relationship, you more than likely have tied your identity to the other person. Now that she's gone, now that she's no longer in the picture, you're having an identity crisis. You feel lost, you feel empty. And it hits you a lot more harder because you're at that halfway point in your life. You're no longer in your early 20s anymore. And now life has taken a different turn. You're thinking about that next chapter. And now because you've tied a lot of your identity to that other person, you've completely lost yourself along the way. And look, it's okay to feel this way because I personally have been through this myself. When my 7-year relationship ended, approximately 3 years ago, I entered that relationship when I was 26 years old. When she left me, I was 33. So I understand exactly what you're going through. There were a lot of fear and doubts that crept in my mind. And trust me, I never thought that this would ever happen to me. Meaning that when I was in my 20s, I thought that by the time I reached my 30s, I would have my path all figured out. I'll be doing something that would be fulfilling, something that I was passionate about. I'd be in a strong relationship with a woman. So essentially, I didn't think that I would be in this position right now. And this was the biggest reality check. Because when she left me, I just didn't know who I was anymore. And there are several important points that are tied to this broken identity that you're more than likely going through right now. The first is having a fear-based mentality. A lot of what ifs are going to come into play at this point. Me personally, and you might be able to relate as well, the what ifs that crept into my mind were, what if I'm too old to meet someone new? What if I don't find love again? What if I'm going to be single for the rest of my life? What if I'll never have a family again, leave a legacy behind? What if I'll never find my purpose? And a lot of those what ifs really scared me at the time because I started to believe that this was actually going to be the case. I started to actually believe that that next chapter of my life, I was going to spend that alone. And understand that your mind's going to be playing a lot of tricks at this point, and this is just part of the process. And on top of this, you'll be dealing with a lot of regret. Because you're at that halfway point in your life, you're going to think to yourself, I should have focused on my dreams, my mission, my career, my personal growth. I shouldn't have stopped training. I shouldn't have neglected my health. And what really scared me was visualizing that next chapter of my life, my 40s, my 50s, and my 60s, spending it alone, living an unfulfilling life, doing something that I hated to do, something that I wasn't passionate about doing. And that absolutely scared me. For me personally, that almost feels worse than death. It's like you're living, but you're not living the life that you truly wanted to live. And I don't want to live a life of regret. That was a lot of fuel that really helped me overcome the regret, that helped me focus on rebuilding. But you're going to go through this, okay? Because again, you're not in your 20s anymore. You're at this age where you take life a lot more serious. And it's okay because you have to get scared. You have to think about that next chapter. Do I really want to spend that next chapter of my life miserable, lonely, doing something that I'm not passionate about doing? Something that doesn't have any purpose to it? Because for me, I didn't want to live that way. And I refused to live a life like that. That's not living, that's just existing. So this is something that is actually a good thing, because if you're actually thinking about that next chapter of your life, the regret, the way that you don't want to live, that's a sign that you're going to go all in when it comes to changing, when it comes to repairing that broken identity. So understand that your mind is going to be playing a lot of tricks at this point. It's all part of the process. I had to go through this myself. But when you focus on rebuilding that identity, you're going to shift that mindset from a fear-based mentality to an abundance-based mentality. And that's when you truly start to create the life that you want. The next important point is having a lack of purpose. This is huge. This really hit me hard when I went through my breakup at 33 years old. I felt so empty. I didn't have a greater mission, a greater why that I was striving towards. And to be honest with you, I didn't have this before the relationship even started. I had this empty void inside, and I made her the center of my world. So when she left me, it was a massive wake-up call, because I didn't know what I was going to do for that next chapter of my life. Something that I was passionate about, something that was fulfilling. And you got to understand that having purpose is non-negotiable. If you're lacking purpose as a man, you're always going to feel empty inside. You're going to feel like something's missing. And when you feel that empty void and you don't focus on building your purpose, you're always going to be seeking validation, either through relationships or through vices. You need something to make you feel alive again, because you haven't found that why. You haven't properly spent time in building that why. Focusing on what is my mission for that next chapter of my life. And you got to understand that this is the core of a man's identity. It's the foundation everything else is built on. Your confidence, the direction in life that you're heading, your discipline, your masculine frame. This is a core element, and this is something that I want you to please pay very close attention to, because you don't want to live a life that's unfulfilling. You're at that age now where you can completely focus on building that purpose. It's not difficult. It starts with living a fulfilling life, starting with the right habits, having the right self-love routines. And from there, once you start to create the identity, you'll understand what your purpose is. The path will be a lot more clearer. The path will illuminate as you walk it. So from going from having no purpose to now having purpose, life just feels so much different. It comes before the current relationship that I'm in now. And every day there's something that I wake up to strive towards, something that actually makes me happy. I don't have to rely no longer on a woman to fill that empty void inside, because I have that purpose. And if you never find that purpose, remember that you're always going to feel empty inside. And the last point is having a broken masculine frame. Let's be honest, you more than likely stopped leading the relationship. You didn't put strong boundaries in place. You weren't willing to walk away when she crossed that line. So she may have disrespected you. She may have raised her voice and you just let it slide. And slowly she lost respect for you because you didn't respect yourself. You didn't have high enough self-worth. You more than likely got emotionally reactive during that relationship and you lost your power. And that's exactly what happened to me. I stopped leading the relationship. I started leading the relationship during the honeymoon phase, but once that honeymoon phase ended, I didn't lead the relationship no more. I wasn't able to maintain my masculine power during that relationship. It's because I didn't have high enough self-worth. I didn't respect myself enough because I didn't show up through action. I thought I had masculine frame, but I actually didn't, because my life would show otherwise. And this is very important, that you have a strong masculine frame. It's not about being the alpha male or any of these modern day terms that people use. It's more or less about having the self-worth, the self-respect, and not letting anyone else cross those boundaries. And you willing to walk away. You'll only get to this position when you focus on increasing your self-worth. You won't tolerate BS. You won't attract low frequency people when you start to focus on increasing your self-worth as a man. So masculine frame is huge. Without this, you'll never maintain a long-term relationship. This is very important, right? It's one thing to start dating a woman, but maintaining a long-term relationship, if there's any advice I can give you from someone that's actually in a long-term relationship, is you need to have masculine frame. You need to be leading that ship at all times. The moment you take your hands off the wheel and you let the woman steer the ship, she loses her genuine burning desire towards you. She loses her respect towards you. You've gone from that strong masculine man in her eyes to a man that's no longer capable. A man that can't deliver a promising future, the safety, the security. So you need to take responsibility and focus on repairing this masculine frame. On top of this, you more than likely have no internal structure. You were lacking routine, lacking discipline. You didn't keep your word to yourself. You let yourself go in the process. You got complacent in that relationship, and it's okay. Again, this is exactly what happened to me. And I know what it feels like to be in this position, to not feel masculine in a relationship. It absolutely sucks. And to have that power dynamic completely reversed, I don't wish that upon any man. So what you're going through right now, I understand. This is exactly what I personally went through. But I did everything in my power to recreate myself into a new identity. It's much more deeper than just healing from a breakup. You need to focus on not only healing, but you need to recreate a new version of yourself. And this is the perfect time to rewrite that next chapter of your life. This is the best thing that ever happened to you. Because now you're at the perfect stage of focusing on all these areas that you need to really improve as a man. This is God's way of teaching you a lesson, making you go through the adversity so you can come out on the other side and become a stronger man, live a fulfilling life, leave a legacy behind. Make the most of the life that you've been given and not live a life of regret. Remember, your character must be congruent with the goals or the outcomes in life that you're wanting. If there's a lack in character, you will never reach those goals. It will just be a dream that you'll never reach, and you'll always be living in fear, always living a life of regret. So if this is something that you're going through right now, and you're at this halfway point in your life, and you want to make these changes, I can help you get there. This is what my coaching's about. We don't just focus on healing, but we focus on recreating a new identity. Actually focusing on transformation. Exactly what you're going through right now, I've been through this. So I know exactly what works. This is what I'm helping other men with currently as we speak. So if you need that help, you can click the link down below. You can book a free one-to-one coaching call with me, and I'll help you change your entire life. So look, I'm going to end this video here. If you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, give it a like. It always helps the algorithm. And if you want to share your comments, drop your comments down below. I'll get back to each and every one of you guys. But look, ending the video here, have a blessed and beautiful day. Understand that you've got this. You can completely change your life around. It's not set in stone. And this is the best thing that ever happened to you. So this is a blessing in disguise. See you in the next video. Peace out.